They are not allowed to be sold on eBay, which I found out recently, and I had a little fit.
Hi, I'm George the Antique Nomad. Come with me as I wander the country in search of valuable vintage, amazing antiques, and cool collectibles. We'll buy, sell, and trade at antique malls, shops, and shows, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores, anywhere people go to find really interesting things that just aren't made anymore. So come on, let's go!
Hey everybody, it's George the Antique Nomad. I am in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. I got here a little bit late, so I ran around and shopped. I'm going to show you the haul at the end, but I want to give you at least a taste of what this show is like because people are getting ready to pack up. It's later in the day, and I want you to see what it's like. I think it looks like a great place to sell, and my whole idea about coming here was to scout it out because I think I do want to sell here. The people with the back to us are viewers of ours who've just recently taken up selling, and I was so pleased because I met 3 different people here who said that because of YouTube and programs like mine and people who are buying and selling in the real world, that they have decided to take up selling both online and in the real world as well, which is great because these shows are so much fun. This one is usually really big. Now they had rain this morning, so a lot of the outdoor dealers bailed out early, which is unfortunate because there's usually even more to see. But all of these pavilions and buildings are full of dealers, and they range from people who buy out estates and auction leftovers to people who are professional full-time antique dealers. These folks have 3 of these hay trolleys. These are really popular now. People are using them in different ways. They're even building furniture out of them. Big old kraut cutter there. This is actually rather old and only $100 for this nice American walnut washstand with the candle stands on it. This little piece here is where the towel would have hung. You'll see these in the sides of these. They were popular to use in houses and small hotels back in the day. And it's really a great price for what it is. I'm tempted. Well, if you're a repurposer, here's something you can do using old pieces of wood, or even maybe corks, like wine corks could be used for that. This is a combination of newer and older stuff. We see a lot of these painted bowls from the 1930s where the color is fired on and then they have a silver rim and sometimes even flowers. This one's priced at $18, and with the original box, that's a reasonable price for a Brownie Hawkeye. These fellows have some neat pottery here, and I got to buy a few pieces, so I'll show you those. They also have some neat architectural elements. I really like this one. This looks like 1870s or 80s with all the old paint. This is real old paint. Nobody had to fake this crackling. $175. These folks have a really neat Formica and wood table. Kitchen table. You don't see this style too often, and what a great price. It's a little scuffed up, but it's only $15. I mean, if you had a set of chairs, you could do something great with that. And they also have this big vase here, and they asked me about it, and I wanted to show you. It is likely by Crissa from Mexico because of the rough pontil, and it's got that slick feel of newer glass, but it's a great color and a really big statement piece. And where a piece that big that was Italian would be $400 or $500, it's $125 because of its origin. So a good value for the money if you just are looking for a really great pop of color in a room. They've got some neat pieces here. This Fenton is mulberry. It's a color you don't see so often. And then this is Cambridge glass. It's only asking $25. It needs a little cleaning or I would have bought it, but for someone that's a great deal. It's a 1930s design. These folks have one of the best selections of old car grill badges from various advertising pieces from AAA, starting at around $25. Also various insurance companies. The enameled ones like this are going to be older and cost more. I imagine that's over $100. But then here's this one for the Federation of Eagles, priced at $35. And for someone who is collecting fraternal items or who is a car person, that is not a bad price. Doctors had their own badges, as did nurses. And then these are really great, but these are bus driver and limousine and cab driver badges. And there's just such a great variety of these to collect. That's why a lot of people like badges. Then you get into security guards, and here's a whole tray full of those. And then down here, we're going to see transit companies, motor coaches, trucking companies. These are 1930s, 40s, 50s. Very collectible now. And like I said, they just have the best selection of these. And these are all genuine. These are old. None of these are reproductions. Then another collectible area is all of these old workers' badges. Dover Air Force Base, Caterpillar tractor. These were especially important in the Second World War because a whole lot of people went to work who had not worked before and people didn't know who they were. Then, of course, the most popular of all are police badges, at least the most collectible of all. Not always the most expensive, but definitely the most sought after. I like this little paperweight. It's an adding machine from probably the 1950s, priced at $20. That's very cute. Paperweights are a collectible area in and of themselves. Two of the three wise men in blow molds, priced at $25 each. Somebody will tell me I should have bought those, I suspect. Hobos at the train clock from the 60s or 70s for $25. And the football clock, that's a hard one to find. That's actually pretty cool. Looks like the second hand's got a little damage. Otherwise, I'd be tempted to get that. It's football season after all. Swinging in here, you see more of the professional dealers, but I was able to buy some good things from them too. This is from Toledo, Ohio. She's a little scratched, but peanut butter tins are very collectible. They haven't put peanut butter in tins in years. And there's a lot of different designs and regional brands. It's a whole collecting category of its own. Here's something I've never seen before, and I wanted to share this with you. We know about cat chow. Well, Purino makes all sorts of chow, including cow chow. So this is an old milk scale, and it's old. This is probably 1920s. Would have been given out to farmers to use, and most of these are long gone. They have it priced at $200. I've never seen cow chow before. Some very nice coverlets here. They're looking at the indigo and white. I like these multicolored. This was a new type of loom that allowed these to be made. I personally like them with multiple colors, but I think they're all really beautiful. I always seem to notice them because look at how they have lots of these in here. She's got a great selection. I'm from the West Coast, and the West Coast isn't really old enough to have a lot of these, so seeing so many in one place is always exciting for me, and she's just got bins of them. This is really sweet. It's a sampler dated 1796. Here's a bookmark done in a similar manner from 1801. These samplers are popular and collectible, and even more so if they came from the South rather than the North. The linens are a little bit different, and not as many people lived in the South, so they're rarer. I'm always partial to these little clover-shaped tables. This is oak from about 1900, four-leaf clover for good luck. $75 for that one. They have a nice mission-style oak bookcase, arts and crafts with the flat slat sides, and that is priced at $185. I could use a couple more bookcases. Those are not bad prices for what they are. Nice little goat cart here. I should show this because we see Putnam die tins probably more than most other store displays. They've got one there and another one here, and they change as they go through time. This one's $279. That's kind of a typical price. The smaller one, I believe, is going to be a little less, although it's a little older. Look at the cute flapper on there. That one is $159. This fellow had some very nice pieces of rookwood pottery and other Ohio area potteries. Most of these are rookwood that you're seeing here. There is an unusual one here I wanted to show though. This is Bybee pottery, and Bybee is not something we usually see other than utilitarian wear, and it's got the Great Selden Bybee label on it, so that's a very unusual piece. Priced at $300 and a very hard one to find. This is an Ames knockoff. It's not Ames, but it has the look. A lot of companies did them in the 70s. It's priced at $650, which is just right. Oh, you're doing great. Thank you. And this is where these things are. And I see, yeah, this is in Louisville. And there is some great Louisville modernism. I mean, this guy's got some really cool things. I like this which is a platform rocker in a sofa size, but it will actually rock on that platform. This is 1950s vintage. He's got this really cool lamp that has the original shade. People ask me why I don't buy more of these 70s lamps when I see them, and it's because they usually had crazy specific shades like this. And that's why his is $145, because he's got the original shade and it's not damaged and it doesn't smell of smoke. You got to remember, lots of people chain smoked back then, so a lot of stuff that looks good doesn't smell good. These people have a big selection of linens, and they're smart to bring a rounder and hang them. When you hang them like this, people will respect it and they can look through it without making a pile. When you lump them in a pile, well, then they throw them in a pile, and it all has to be ironed over and over. This one is a cheap vinyl one, but it is Seattle World's Fair. And I don't see this in Seattle often. It's $10 here, it'll be $30 there. I'm going to get this. Well, that was fun. I wasn't expecting to find anything else to buy. I hadn't looked at that rack when I was coming through here before, so one more thing to put in the haul. Like I say, folks, they're starting to pack up because it's late in the day. I did buy something from this gal. She has she had a yellow cart, but I think she's either sold it or put it in her car because it was right there. So I guess I'm not getting that. You know, you snooze, you lose. You really should buy it when you see it. I tell people that all the time, and then I don't always follow my own advice. I did buy some stuff from Jim, who's the dealer in this space. He's got a good deal on the piano bench for $60. It does rotate. People are using these as plant stands or little side tables more than they're using them for pianos these days. I like the applique here too. It's a good design.
Yeah.
What did I leave? Oh my gosh, thank you. I would have been sad to not get those. Thank you very much. I'm glad I got back here. There's Shawnee's rooster, known as Charlie Chicken. But I really like this guy. 1930s, because you see the green and orange. That was popular in the 30s before it was popular in the 60s, and you can see the paint has aged in a natural way. Very cute piece. Let's see how much this little riding horse is. $110 for the rocking horse. That would be great in a primitive or folk art or children-oriented display. And then there's an indoor building as well. This guy specializes in trains, but he also has the Cragston Crap Shooter, which is similar to the bartender that you see. That's priced at $115 with the original box. They were mainly a toy maker. They also did this musical train. That's a good price on the Dinky toys. We really don't see that brand that much in America because it was an English brand. This is one of my favorite designs in old radios. It's a Crossley from about 1950. The chartreuse is a really strong color in this, but I like this maroon. It's priced at $95. It appears to work. And then here's one that has shortwave, the wood case from the 30s, and that one's priced at $195. It's an RCA from 1939. This is an unusual chalkware advertising piece for Hoodepole beer, which is a Midwestern brand. Now I know you could make something like this new, but I like the hairpin legs. Handcrafted reclaimed wood. So no, this is actually pretty new, $350. There is a sprinkler head for you. I told you people like figural sprinkler heads, and that's a different one. This is Roseville's gardenia, and it is upside down. It is a hanging planter. You can see the holes where the chain went in. This was probably the most popular era of Hudson ever made in the late 40s. They were very stylish for the time. A lot of younger people are aware of them because Doc Hudson from the movie Cars is a Hudson. Well, this very nice dealer, they're packing, so I didn't want to get in their way, but she said I could film this wall and show you some of the things, and she's got some really interesting, true antique things that you don't see very often. This miniature bank is in the form of a table with an inlay, and that should date to somewhere right around 1900. A very unusual piece. When you see little pieces of wood, it's good to pick them up and really look them over, because there are things like that that were handmade that you wouldn't necessarily recognize. These little boxes, strong boxes, are toll painted, which was very popular to do gosh, in the late Victorian period particularly. She has a nice beaded boot whimsy here. These were sold originally by the Iroquois and the Mohawk to people at Niagara Falls going for their honeymoons. And the beading is very, very intricate. And that's what people like about them. And she only has $32 on it, which is a very reasonable price for what it is. This is a 1910 silhouette, a little bit before the renewal of the silhouette craze in the 30s. And this one's actually watercolor on paper, done in Atlanta. This is a nice plate engraving print of the Little Rose of Lynn Regis, which it says was done in the coastal town of Lynn Regis by Whistler, you know, of Whistler's mother fame. And so this would have been published during his time, which was around 1900 in the Boston area. I like these little celluloid knives that say office knife. This was a popular and fairly common thing in its time, but we don't see them much anymore. They date back to about 1900 or 1910. That one is priced at $20. Here's something else I should show you. See how it says Parisian Ivory? You'll sometimes also see French ivory. That's a nice fancy name for celluloid plastic, and it's good to know that because these days ivory can't be sold everywhere, but this is not really ivory, and so it is legal to sell. And then she had this very sweet, and I have to say kind of tempting, arts and crafts era desk set, and she says it's from Kronheimer and Oldenbusch, who operated until 1939. I would say this is near the end of their production. It's really great with the trees. It's got the letter opener, and this is the inkwell. And only $48 on the set. And then this is a very pretty die cut advertising again, celluloid eyeglasses. So eyeglass frames made of celluloid. This trade card is $125. Die-cut trade cards are hard to find. Butterflies are interesting to people, and eyeglasses are interesting to people. So that's why this isn't your typical $2 trade card. And you see on the back it has all the information. This hasn't been torn or ripped. So this is an unusual one, and that's why it is priced accordingly. Trade cards are definitely something to look for. Another great thing about going to an antique show is you find out about other opportunities. Where are people selling? Country people advertise in the Country Register. We have all of these antique shows and antique markets that advertise, and so you can really set yourself up with a route and find some new things you didn't know about previously. And besides which, there's all these people who are willing to talk and connect with you and network as well. Well, like is a good word, and there it is, an old clock. I like the shape. And then we've got the Fondue Pot for $25 right out of the 70s. I know people are taking up fonduing again. If you like white and you're liking swung glass these days, the Fenton company did this in the late 60s and early 70s in hobnail milk glass. I've always thought it was a very graceful shape. These folks have a lot of blendo as well. The cruet is $15, $50 to $60 on these sets. In excellent shape. Finding them not dishwashed to death is very important, of course. This is a commonly seen cake keeper or bread keeper, but the Star Furniture Company got their ad on it, and that part is unusual. Hey everyone, I just wanted to take a quick break and thank you for watching this video. If you're enjoying it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Also, please do subscribe because then you can click that bell to be notified of future videos. We have membership packages. There's a couple of different levels. We appreciate the support of our super fans who help us do extra bonus content. You can check that out by hitting the join button below or clicking the link in the description. And lastly, we want to ask you to check out our new channel, the Antique Nomad Live. That's live with an exclamation point, where we're doing additional content of a live nature, hauls, sales, bonus stuff. We'll have a lot of fun there too. So check us out here on the Antique Nomad and also on the Antique Nomad Live. Now let's get back to this video. And look how cute the little miniature desk-size aluminum Christmas tree from the 1950s is. Look at this great fold-up card. So this will fold flat, and the chef with the big slice of meat and salt and pepper and corn. I just think that's so fun, out of the late 60s, early 70s in that orange color, priced at $145. And I also wanted to show off this lavender colored tree topper from the 1960s, hand blown. Hard to find these because they mostly got broken. Well, I'm sorry I couldn't show you more of Lawrenceburg. It just came and went so fast, but I had a great time shopping and I found some really cool stuff. So I'm going to take it home and let's show you in the haul right now. Lawrenceburg had some good stuff, even though I got there late. It doesn't always mean that you have to get up at 6 in the morning and be there at the crack of dawn, although I'm sure I missed out on some good stuff. But it was a really good antique market, and I am looking forward to being there as a dealer in the future. I will take a moment now and show you some of the stuff that I bought. And again, this was all late in the day, like afternoon, and there was still cool stuff to find. So let's start with this. This is just fun. It's a popcorn popper. It's the old type that use oil. And yes, I know everyone is worrying about fat grams, but I'll tell you, the oil popped is just really good tasting. This thing has been used, but not very often, and it has a wonderful graphic telling you that it is the telematic corn popper. Telematic, it sounds like it's automatic, you know, it's everything 50s that sounds like it's very modern, and there's the family enjoying it, and they look very 50s modern as well. Made in St. Louis back when we made stuff like this. And it's got its original cord and the original cup so that you know how much oil to put in. It does work, and it was only $5. And there's a lot of people who buy old kitchen appliances to use as displays. Sometimes it's restaurants and cafes, sometimes it's just people who really like kitchen things. And some people buy these to actually use. I might even try it out myself because I am a big popcorn fan. So that was a fun thing. The first place I went had these. These are Treasure Craft, now jumped over the moon, salt and pepper shakers. That cow looks like he has a lot of leaping to do to get over that moon, but they're hand painted. The original theme sets from Treasure Craft didn't have any painted embellishments, and then as time went on, by the early 50s, they were doing more design like this. These came from a young couple who have been viewers, and they said that they were inspired to take the plunge and go out and start selling, and they're doing real world selling as well as online. It was just so fun to find something from them. I think I paid them $10 or $12 for these. You know, they're probably worth 15 to 20 in the right hands, but I just thought that they were neat, and because I wrote the book on this company, I always like to pick up little things that I don't already have in my collection. So there you go. We all start as collectors, and then some of us end up outgrowing our collections and having to become dealers. These were a great deal. The guys that had these had all their pottery on half off, and I can't believe that these didn't sell, except I don't think anyone knew what they were. These are a company called Jameson's from California, and these do not have any marks on them, but their other pieces do, and this very distinctive green to pink spatter glaze is what makes them theirs. And they did a lot of fish motif. The candle holders are actually very hard to find. And for someone who collects California pottery, these are going to be something from the late 40s, early 50s that they have not really seen. And they should sell for about $25. I believe I paid $4.50. Another thing I was very excited to get was this. It's a compact, but the great thing is it has a clock in it, and the clock works. I wound it and made sure. These were not expensive clock movements, and so they often don't work anymore. But this was a popular design in the 50s. And you can see it's got the original mirror, it's got the original powder puff. Everything seems to be in really good shape. It looks like it was never used actually, because the original screen doesn't have any powder in it. And then I think this little piece may lift up, yes, there we go, so that you can wind the watch. And as soon as I wound the watch and heard it ticking, I said, oh yes, that's for me. These sell for about $45 to $50 with the watch working, and the dealer seemed very uninterested in it. It was a guy, I don't think it was his kind of thing, and he charged me $10. It's Elgin American, which was made outside of Chicago. They actually stole their name from the clockmaker. They were in Elgin, Illinois as well, and so they actually borrowed the Elgin name, got sued, and decided they had to call it Elgin American. At some point they made up, and that's where the clock came from. Now these are probably from about 1980. They're not unusual to find, but everybody is loving fairy lamps, and these were both very inexpensive. They were only $5 each. It's a Homeco with the pagoda shape. This came in several different colors of satin glass. Satin glass is made by using a regular molded glass and then dunking it into acid and taking it out really fast, and that's what gives it the satin finish. This one in my other hand is also satin glass. I believe this one was by Anchor Hawking, and it's nice because it has the little pedestal. Now these are not particularly unusual as fairy lamps go. You will see these patterns, but they also, because they did not cost much, should sell pretty quickly in about the $20 each range. Just a little tiny corner was poking out, and I could see a little bit of the Space Needle, and I said, aha, I know what that is. This is Seattle World's Fair, and pulled it out, and it was. Very, very bright colors. This is sort of the beginning of day glow in design in the 1960s. The World's Fair in Seattle was 1962, and they were predicting the future. And well, the future came pretty quick for these colors. By the late 60s, this is what everybody was using in decorating. But a lot of Seattle World's Fair collectors have not seen this piece because people used them and then they got stained or torn or thrown away. It was only $10 because I bought it in Indiana rather than on the West Coast where people would have more of a connection to this. It will go back to Seattle and it will probably sell for $30 to $35 there. So that was fun to see. And it shows some interesting things. They called the amusement park the Gayway, and that's the Gayway at night. The Food Circus, which is now the Center House. This is the Science Center with the very distinctive architecture. Of course, you've got the Space Needle in the middle. The fountain is there, that's been restored, and the monorail. I like buying novelty pens, and there were a couple for sale. The one on this side, the rabbit, is marked West Germany, and this one is one I remember seeing as a kid in the 1970s. Somebody had one of these and was using it. They also did carrots and vegetables and other funny things as pens. It was just a couple of dollars. As a novelty, it should sell for $6 or $8. It's just a nostalgia thing, and there are collectors of these. There's also collectors of these. It's a floating pen, and when you turn it upside down, her dress floats, well, away. And I can't really show you that on YouTube. You'll just have to take my word for it. But the float still works, and that's the important part. And it was $5, and they usually sell for $12 to $15 easily. So I will take that to an antique show. I have a few things that cannot be shown on eBay, including the next thing I'm going to pick up here, which is a set of jarts. I was very excited to get this, and I paid $40. It used to be that jarts sold for $20 or $25, and then they were banned on eBay to go along with the ban that there was in producing these that came into effect in the late 1980s. This is a late 70s, early 80s box. These were invented by a dentist in New Jersey just because they were fun, and they really were fun. Unfortunately, some people were not able to be careful with them, and there's lots of stories of people who got jabbed by them, and so they took them off the market. Now, they are not legal to make anymore, but that does not make them illegal to sell. There seems to be a lot of confusion about that. They are not allowed to be sold on eBay, which I found out recently, and I had a little fit, but then someone who saw my post about it bought them, and they're selling for about $150 to $200 a set if they're complete, which these are. So I was very happy to get them for $40 because I had just sold my last set. So these will fly through the air to somebody somewhere, but not an eBay buyer. The duck is just a cute little lusterware guy, and you know, cute sells. He's just so happy and bright, and it's the luster paint. He's in good condition. He was only $6. He has a 1930s Japanese mark, which I'm sure that the dealer didn't recognize or couldn't read. I'm sure they thought it was newer than that, and that's why they priced it so cheaply. I suspect that he'll sell for about $15 to $20 because cute really does sell these days, and he's got cute all over him. The tables are really cool. These are 1970s, early 70s, and they're basically reverse painted on glass. So this is a mirror with a textured design in brown and amber colors that were very much in style in the 1970s. They're nice little low cocktail tables or end tables or occasional tables that you could use anywhere. The dealer had those at $55 for the pair, and he said, well, I'll take 40 because it was late in the day. And I thought they're perfect. They're great for me because as a dealer, I can unscrew the legs really easily and take them and use them on tabletops at shows like he was doing, and then they will sell, because in Florida I would probably expect to get about 100 for that pair. The other pair I got that are next to them, same dealer, are these. I'll move this off so that we can see the top of one of them. These were originally priced at $50, and he let me have these for $30 for the pair, which I thought was wonderful because they've got butterflies on them. The butterflies and leaves are encased in a plastic that is printed, and then you have this sort of gold lame. There were a bunch of companies that did them. This particular one has the Decor Accessories, Decor Products Incorporated from Cleveland, Ohio. The other place I've seen them made, there was a company called Style Built in Miami, Florida that did these. And because of that, they're popular with Floridians, and they're popular anywhere that people like natural things like butterflies. And the poor butterflies are having so much trouble these days that anything that helps promote saving butterflies, I'm all for. So I figured that somebody who likes butterflies and has a butterfly garden will enjoy those. This guy here I just thought was fun because I remember when my dad in the 70s worked for a place that he had to make punch cards to go into computers, and this huge computer wall. He actually worked for a competitor of Honeywell, and so they had computers that looked just like these, and this giant wall of computers probably does about the same thing that the pocket calculator you get for free does now. But it just was a cool look, and anything that has to do with early computer, early electronics of this sort seems to be very collectible now. This is by a company called House Art in Pennsylvania. It costs, I believe, $4, and it should sell for about $15, I would think. Now in here, there's a little medal. It says San Francisco Trans Am Exposition. So this is from the 1915 World's Fair, and it's a little metal tab you would have given in exchange for a free Coke. And a free Coke at that time came in a bottle that looked like this on the back next to the price tag. A straight-sided bottle with a diamond-shaped label. Those bottles are worth money now. This is before Raymond Loewy developed the curved Coke bottle that we're used to now. And so there are Coca-Cola collectors who really like these, and I think he gave me 20% off. So I believe I paid $12. I do believe it's worth about $25. I like these. These were to hold foam scrapers, and you think, well, what's a foam scraper? It looks like a cup in there. Well, the cup is stationary. This is for Carstairs whiskey. This would have sat in a tavern somewhere. And the foam scrapers would sit on the top, and you would use them to actually scrape the beer, or they would have muddlers for mixing whiskey drinks. That would be another thing they would use. And the Carstairs seal is a very famous logo. This is going to date to the 1960s. This was also discounted. I think I paid $9 for it. I typically get about $25 to $30 for this piece. So that's a neat thing for a man cave. And it's definitely out of the 60s. And then there's two last things I want to show, and they're a little more antique and valuable. This one, antique because of its age. This is Northwood. It's a carnival glass trunk vase in the amethyst. So the color on the bottom is amethyst purple. And then you have this nice gold sheen on the outside. This was priced at $25. I believe the dealer sold it to me for $20. I was surprised to see it there late in the day because people have really caught on to swung vases from the 1960s, and all of a sudden all of these trunk vases from the 1910s have shot up in price as well because people see the similarity. These were the originals, the OG version of your Ellie Smith. This one is in good shape, and it's got a really nice gold tone to it. I expect it will sell for about $50 to $65. And the other piece has more value because of the name. There is something in a name. This little camel pin, yes, it's cute and it's got lots of color in it and a nice little chain, but the important part about this is the label on the back. It may be hard to see, but it's right in there, and in script it says Joseph and that's Joseph of Hollywood. He was one of the big costume jewelry designers in the era of the Second World War, and things marked Joseph sell for good money, especially if they're figural. I got it down where you can see it's got all 4 of its little jewels. This piece should sell for somewhere around $85 to $100 because of the name. So that is the name to look for when you're out there hunting. I paid $40 because I knew it was a good name. The dealer knew it was a good name too, but she said, I got it right and I can give you a discount where you can make money and I can make money. I'm sure she probably got it cheap at a garage sale or something. So we all end up doing well in this business, because if you get a good deal, you can pass it on and someone else can make money too. There's always room in this endeavor, and it's part of what I really like about it. I did save one thing for last though, and I saved it for last because I have to be careful with these. I can't show you all of them. Let's see, I can show you this way. These are 1967 Superior Gift line, and Superior Gift made calendars, and they also made posters for businesses. So the reason I can't show you these is most of them are, well, a little underdressed, but I have one I can show you, and she's famous and she is wearing something, and that's Jane Mansfield. This is 1967. This is actually the year that she had the car accident and was killed, and as a result, these are pretty collectible, and there are, I believe, 10 in this particular set. The other ones are not as famous and they are not as heavily dressed, we'll say, so I'm going to keep them in my hand, and someone who wants to see them will have to buy them. But they are cute pinups. I paid about $4 each. This sort of thing should sell for about $15 each, and Jane probably about $25. So I think there's good money in this. I just can't put them on eBay. They will have to sell in some other manner, but there's lots of people who collect these, and they're cute and sort of relatively tame for our time. So anyhow, I had a great time at Lawrenceburg. It was really fun. I got to meet some people who are selling, who watch the show. I got to shop with a friend of mine and his wife. They were really neat, and we got to hang out with them and go look around. So it just was a great time. I'm looking forward to doing the show probably next season. In the meantime, you can catch me here or on the Antique Nomad Live. We have live broadcasts of traveling through some of these shows that you can watch. Also, please check out my website. It talks about appraisal information and other things that I'm doing. It's theantiquenomad.com. We'll see you here Mondays and Wednesdays for new videos, and check out all of our social media in the description. Thanks so much for watching. I'm George the Antique Nomad, and bye for now.
Thanks for joining me again in the fun and fascinating antique community, here where online meets the real world. Please click the subscribe button below, click the bell to be notified when new videos upload, leave a comment below, and hit thumbs up to like this video. Links to our online social media daily posts and our items for sale are in the description. This is George at the Antique Nomad. Bye for now.